All right, welcome back, Bronco Nation. This is Chris V here for another edition of Blue Turf Talk, and I am excited today to be joined by his second appearance by Patrick. How you doing, Patrick?
Good. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well. And then the debut. Grant, is this your first ever podcast debut?
Yeah, my first
Yeah.
ever.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
By
you.
Grant Michael, tell me somebody in your life has a nickname of G Money for you. Come on.
Probably when I was a teenager for
Okay.
Xbox, that was actually my gamer tag. So yeah,
Yes.
throwing it back to the good old days.
Yes. All right. G Money. Tossing it over to you, Grant. Kind of introduce yourself to the Bronco Nation. I was excited that you came on. You've been writing some articles for me as my wife just happens to walk in right now. And they're great articles. I appreciate you putting your time and effort into those. It's good stuff. Check it out on our website. Um, just to give Bronco Nation a quick introduction.
Yeah, I'm Grant. Grew up here locally. Went to Eagle High School. Played football, a little bit of basketball, and ran some track. Nowadays, you'll catch me attempting to try and play golf. That's a nice way of putting it. Yeah, just trying to stay active and just thought it'd be something interesting to do in my free time. My girlfriend actually wanted me to do it because I would always tell her about Bronco like recruiting updates and stuff like that. And she's like, I think you're a little bit too into this for like a normal fan. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I should probably do something with that. So decided to give it a shot.
So you just doubled down on that. You're like, nope,
Yeah,
I'm going deeper. I'm
yeah,
diving in. I love it.
Awesome.
I love it. And another Eagle High graduate.
yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say it. I'm proud of this fact. We're all former law enforcement or current law enforcement. So,
Mm-hmm.
support that, love that.
Mm-hmm.
But getting back to reality and Boise State, there's some exciting stuff going on at a time that spring camp's fun. You kind of learn some, you kind of don't. It's a lot of the basics, but we're going to talk about that. And then the basketball team loses a couple, but gains a couple. And I like the trade they got personally. We'll get started there, and we're going to talk about some spring camp practice observations. I was there on Thursday. It was warm. I loved it. And I saw some good stuff, some exciting stuff, some concerning stuff. I'm not going to talk about that. Just keep in mind, I can't share too many details. I don't want to lose my credentials. I respect Boise State and giving us that access. It's a lot more access than we used to get. So I'll give you some details, and then we'll wrap it up talking about some position groups that took a hit lately, but I think are going to be just fine. And Patrick and Grant have done their homework and they're ready to talk about that. But first off, let's talk about that basketball transfer coming in. What's his name, Grant? Fill me in. Drew Fielder.
Yeah.
I just completely spaced on that. Drew Fielder. Yeah, I'm going to show some highlights here. Comes in from Georgetown, 6'11" center. Got a lot of highlights here that I'm impressed with. We're going to toss over to this one. Actually, I like these more. Simply because we all know he can dunk. When you're 6'11", that's. But look at this smooth shot right here. This is what I like to see. And this is what we hoped we had with Dylan Anderson, who did enter the transfer portal, and it just never worked, never happened. From my observations, and some may disagree with me, he was just not physical enough. He was a pretty lean 7-footer, and that just doesn't play in the very physical Mountain West. So I'm excited to see Drew Fielder come on in here. He's got 2 years of eligibility, and I think will be a day one immediate, no doubt about it, starter and big contributor. We lost Ugbo or however we pronounce it, and that's a bummer. But we more than made up for that loss, and I'm excited to see what he can bring to this team. Grant, toss over to you. Give me some thoughts on Drew Fielder here.
Yeah, I think the one thing that BSU was lacking last year was a lengthy rim protector. Drew Fielder is not the greatest rim protector, but I think Ubo, for all of his defensive praise that he got, he was a net negative in offense. We'll we'll put it that besides the semifinals against New Mexico, where he jumped out to 17 points, which I still have no idea how he did it. He usually wasn't a big contributor on offense. I think Drew will help out there. I think his points and his stats didn't look as great last year because they weren't running the offense through him, and he wasn't the key contributor in that situation. So I think Leon and company will have a bigger role for him coming to BSU.
Yeah. Stats from last season: 7 points a game, 5 rebounds a game. Hey, I mean, that's not bad.
No.
Did to spurn USC. He was originally committed to go to USC. Came back. He is excited to have him. Looking at this team, and I can tell you already that the rest of the team is pretty solid. Pearson Carmichael, RJ Keene was on a local broadcast. Shout out to BJ Rains. BJ always gives us great content, and they did confirm they are returning. I'm told from good sources that is going to be the rest. The rest of the roster is solid. So it's exciting to see what's coming up. You lose Degenhart, and that's a bummer. Wish him the best in the NBA. But for my money, Pearson Carmichael has just as much offensive capability as Degenhart. And quite frankly, as a young player that was comparing Degenhart as a freshman and Pearson as a freshman, Pearson has much more of that killer instinct that I love to see. That's always something I kind of wish Degenhart had more of. That takeover. I'm taking this ball. I'm going to score. No doubt about it. Stop me if you can. Outlook, and that's something Pearson has. So I'm excited to see that going in to next season. So keep an eye out there for that. They're probably done adding players, if we're being real honest. I know there's been some local media saying, this is a complete rebuild. It's not. They're about done. They feel really good about the young man, Ethan Lathan. He's a center. Redshirt last season, a lefty. And I've heard from good sources that Coach Rice is very high on him. So expect him to carve out some kind of niche role in this team. And I'm not going to talk about this guy too much simply because he hasn't signed, but I do want to put Bronco Nation's at ease. Dylan Andrews, the UCLA point guard, he's solid. There was some word yesterday or earlier this week that he hasn't signed. He's going to sign. Some ink has been used, I'm told. That is done. He wants to come here and visit. Can't blame him for that. He's coming. But I won't talk about him too much until that is official. I don't want to steal his spotlight or anything. But he's going to be a very exciting player coming from UCLA. Moving on to the football team. Spring practice is super fun, and I'm going to share some highlights here. I haven't made these public yet, so that's hopefully this is why you watch this kind of access. I try to share that my view with you guys. I feel very blessed and lucky that I get to go and participate, or not participate, but be there to watch practice. So I'll try and be your eyes and ears for Bronco Nation. For Thursday, it was a defensive dominated. I don't know. The defense won the day. Let's put it that way. You'll see some drills here with some. Here's the quarterbacks. It's hard to judge quarterbacks too much during spring simply because the defensive backs see them every single day. They know what's coming. So in my mind, I don't know about you guys, I kind of lean towards hoping the defense dominates. So maybe that's a good thing. But this group is raw. They have a lot of growth to do there. Obviously, Maddox Matson is running the show, but behind him, there's some stuff to prove. And you guys like Max Cutforth and Caleb Annett and I personally, a guy I interviewed and have talked with quite a bit, and even his father's reached out to me. So shout out to J Bone, Jack Benson. that group has a lot to prove, and I'm excited to watch that. I'm hoping they have a good showing at the spring game. Some other stuff that I just wanted to toss out there and share with you guys. Ty Benefield continues to just be a superstar in the making. Unbelievable talent, great leadership in that defensive backfield. Another young man I've mentioned before on previous podcasts, and I don't know where he fits in. I don't know if he's going to start, but he needs to see the field. A guy named Travis Anderson. He's a little shorter, but this is a ball hawk. He's always there, breaking up passes, making plays. And then a junior college guy, Jalen Webb. He's mostly seeing time at more of the nickel position at this point. I from my untrained eyes, that's kind of my observation. He's a ball hawk as well. Obviously there's limited hitting in spring. They don't want to injure players, but he can lay the wood. There's no doubt about that. So a lot to be excited about. On the offensive side, Malik Sherrod continues to show that he is a beast. That burst that he has is special. I do think you're going to see him on special teams a lot. He we could all maybe remember him. Maybe we're trying to block it out of our memory, but that kick return that he returned on us playing for Fresno. I could see him returning the favor, hopefully. And then my favorite thing, and this I'll leave it at this, and we'll move on. Let you guys get your saying here. I don't want to hog the spotlight. But the one-on-ones between wide receivers and defensive backs has been by far my favorite thing to watch in practice. And keep in mind the highlights. I don't have highlights of it because that period is embargoed. I can't. That's Boise State rules, and I totally respect that. So if you're wondering, well, then why the heck didn't you record it? Because I can't, and I want to follow their rules and not lose that access. But the one-on-ones are intense. These guys are talking smack. They are trying to get better. They are pushing each other. So I know a lot of fans are concerned about the defensive backfield, and I get it. I do. But there's some young men stepping up. I'll toss out a name, Franklin Johnson. I really liked what he's doing back there. And then again back to Jalen Webb. I've seen some really good things. Toss it over to you guys real quick. I'm gonna start with Grant. Grant, Andrew Simpson leaves, and we wish him the best, and I hope Bronco Nation stays classy on this one. You can never blame a young man for trying to go out and make the cash when you can. You don't know if you're going to make it in the NFL, so get that money when you can. I can't blame him. Wish him nothing but the best. But nonetheless, that leaves a gaping hole on this defense. Real quick, Grant, where do you think we go with this linebacker core?
Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of concrete areas with this Boise State linebacking core, but if there was one concrete guy, it's going to be Marco Nordriani. He's been a staple for the last 2 or 3 years of this Bronco team. He's not the most speedy, athletic guy that you'll see in pass coverage, but he's great at filling run gaps, and he sets people up on the line and DBs where they need to be before pre-snap. So definitely a guy I think will step up in the big-time role this year. Big question I have is who's going to be that number 2 guy. It all depends, too, whether they play dime or not, but you're still going to need someone that's going to be a rotational player. I heard that they're giving Jake Ripp some reps at a linebacker. They just moved him to edge/stud this offseason. So be interesting to see whether or not they give him some more in-game reps at linebacker, or if they like him more at the edge this year, because both positions of needs right now. Another guy I like is Clay Martineau. He was a true freshman last year. Didn't get a lot of playing time. He got a sack and a couple tackles in the Portland State game, but mostly a special teams guy. Super athletic guy. He was a two-way player in high school in Oregon City, I believe he was from.
That
played
sounds
receiver
right.
and linebacker.
So
I think he will play a big role this year and step up to that empty gap that Andrew Simpson leaves. And again, like you said, don't blame Andrew Simpson. I mean, go get your money. You're a 20, 21-year-old man. Who knows if you're going to make it to the NFL? Maybe he wants to be closer to home. It might not even be about money. So I don't blame him there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who steps up to that number 2 is what I'm looking at for this year.
Yep. Yeah, and that was great. A great summary there. Another name I would toss out there is a guy named Bo Phelps. I guess he likes to go by Bo. He just switched from safety to linebacker. I just interviewed him on Thursday. Great young man. Super fun to interview. I hope you guys check it out on our YouTube channel. The roster said 204. He says he's up 217 now, which is what you like to hear as far as weight on a linebacker. I think he could. He played some last season when Tubner would lead with his head too much. Let's put it that way. I thought he played pretty well. And then, like you said, Martineau, I like him. He was a guy that at the very end of his recruitment turned into a 4-star player, and it's funny how once they commit to Boise State, they get that reevaluation real fast. So excited for those two. That's a good call on whether they're going to play dime or not. I'm not going to share any observations there. That's not my place, but I'm curious to see if Notoriani, probably butchered that one, if he ends up with the green dot on his helmet, simply because I'm not sure he does fit into the dime sets as well.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if we see Benefield or Zion Washington, although I will say Zion has been vocal twice that I remember about the green dot being a bit of a distraction and maybe not being his forte. So we'll see. I'm real curious to see what happens there. On those same lines of losing players, and this one seemed to cut a little bit closer to home. I hope you go check out the last Saturday's interview with Spencer Danielson. He was pretty fired up about this one. Braxton Feely leaves, enters the transfer portal, and that's a pretty big loss as well. Patrick, I'm going to toss it over to you. Talk about this defensive line. Huge amount of additions this offseason, and we knew that was coming. That did not surprise me, but man, we might even have to add another one. And I'm going to talk about recruiting after all this. I don't have news, but I can give you some thoughts. But talk about that defensive line and how we're going to fill in for Braxton Feely there.
Yeah, it's a huge loss. But, I'm very excited about the transfers that we got, starting with David Latu, 6'4", 305, much bigger than Braxton Feely, a lot more explosive than Braxton Feely, more experience. He was supposed to be a starter this year going to BYU, so we got a steal there. He's going to be in the middle, so I'm pumped about that. Deion Washington, another transfer, another big body up in the middle, too, to plug the hole and hopefully help the linebackers out a little bit, too, and hopefully get to the quarterback and stop the run. He's 6'2", 290. I'm also looking at Lopez Sanusi, 6'3", 290, and also Michael Madre, 6'4", 281. He's a little bit on the lighter side, but he's tall, and hopefully he gets his hands up and uses his leverage and hopefully uses his speed to get to the quarterbacks too. On the ends, we have Malachi Williams and Virgin Morgan. I'm excited. I don't have to say much about him. I think his work last year spoke volumes, and I think he's going to be the next Ahmad, kind of that leadership, have that big dog mentality, and hopefully Malachi, who was a captain at Idaho, comes in too, and I think those two are going to be a huge force on the ends too, kind of close down the pocket for the quarterback and let the defensive tackles and linebackers eat as well. Yep. So I know we lost Braxton but I think they did a great job at recruiting for the defensive line. I don't think it's going to be as big a problem as we think it's going to be. But, I think I'm very excited. And it's going to also feed on the defensive backs as well. If we get pressure, I think a lot of swats, a lot of forced fumbles. I think the defensive backs are going to eat as well, too. Get a lot of interceptions.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a good call. Great summary there, Patrick. I appreciate you doing your homework on that one. David Latu is a guy whose name hasn't been called much, but I think this fan base is going to get to know him real well this season. He is every bit as big as he is listed. which is not all that common on college football rosters. And just a dominant presence in there. More on the quiet side. I have interviewed him. He's more on the quiet side, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the guy who seems to be stepping into more of a leadership role, and Michael Madry did comment on this the other day when we interviewed him. Deion Washington, guy who played well at Hawaii last season. He's got 1 year eligibility. He's all in. He's going to work his tail off. I'm excited to see him. Michael Madry is an exciting player because of his athletic potential. He is big, but he's one of those guys. I personally thought they might move him to defensive end simply because I think he has the speed to fit there. But he is bulked up and is sticking at defensive tackle, and I'm excited to see that. Glad the coaches know better than me. I will always always bow down to their judgment. And I think he's gonna probably start, would be my guess. With Latu, I feel good about that pairing in the middle. The other day he was talking about that. They're the tip of the spear of this defense, and we had a great tip of that spear last season with Herbert Gums and Sheldon Newton, and I think that will be filled in quite well. Before we talk about the spring game, I kind of went out of order here. The wide receiver group, it's no secret. They've talked about it. Marshall does not is taking some time getting back, and it's unfortunate. He's an extreme talent, but soft tissue injuries seem to be hampering him. Caples hasn't been out there much this spring, maybe because he doesn't need to be. He's a 6-year guy, but they are definitely still looking around for a wide receiver and a guy that I'm excited to see, and I'm going to give him a shout out here simply because I've talked to him or messaged with him a little bit. He seems like a great kid. We just offered Terrell Davis, not the running back from the Denver Broncos. I don't know if there's any. I don't know if they're related at all, but look at these stats here: 109 receptions, 1,600 yards, 15 touchdowns, and I'll throw up some highlights here, and they are impressive. I'm gonna tell you what, guys. I didn't tell you this was gonna happen. But I'm gonna have you take a look at these highlights and give me a comp of a player that you think here. I have one myself, but I want to see what you guys think. This kid has great ball skills. I like his speed. And one thing you always need to remember when you watch highlights is look at the quarterback. Look at the type of quarterback he's playing with. This guy isn't great. He's not awful, but Terrell is making this guy look good. Let's put it that way. So I'm excited. He's got 1 year of eligibility left. He has offers from Oklahoma State, a bunch of the smaller Texas schools, Texas State. He will be visiting next week, he did tell me. So I'm excited to see him. Patrick, I gave you a second there to think about it. Give me a comp.
Oh, man. On the spot. I mean,
all right. I'll see if you agree with mine. Grant, do you have one?
Well, that first play, I don't know about his height or speed or anything, but that first play kind of reminded me a little bit of Khalil Shakir with his ball placement. Yeah.
My man.
Boom.
I watched that and thought that is Khalil Shakir. Just great, amazing body control. Hand-eye coordination is unbelievable. All right. I toss out there because hoping it one of you. Good job, Grant. Patrick?
Good job, Grant.
It's okay, buddy.
Yeah, that's a good one. I just completely blanked. Khalil Shakir. I'm a Raider fan. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Michael Crabtree a little bit too, with the separation and especially with the fade too. Michael Crabtree with Carr was good on the fades too. So that's who I was thinking of. But yeah, Khalil Shakir. I could see it.
Patrick coming in late with the dunk on that one. Crabtree, that's a great comparison. Bigger body guy. And I honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what his height and weight. I didn't write it down. Bigger body guy can kind of one of those guys that kind of out rebounds for the football. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to make the comparison to a basketball player, that was a good call. I like Michael Crabtree. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up here pretty soon. But before we do that, we got the spring game coming up next week. Excited, Um, I hope fans come in with a realistic idea of what they're going to see. It's going to be more of a practice, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. It's basically going to be a practice with some scrimmaging, and a lot of players are going to be out. I'm not going to tell you who, but there's going to be a lot of players out. You're going to see a lot of numbers in the 40s that you didn't expect to see lining up to start, and that's okay. That's okay. It's spring, and some of these guys are they're working their way through. But come out, come to the spring game, enjoy it. It's free. It's not often you get to come to the Bronco Stadium or Albertson Stadium, or whatever we call them these days, for free. So enjoy that. Take advantage of that. Come see some football. Maddox Matson looks great. I'll say that. I love the progression I'm seeing with Maddox Matson. So, Patrick, I know you live out of town, so unfortunately I'm not going to fly in for it. I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah, no worries. I'll get up there.
No, you're not going to be there. And Grant, maybe you can make it, hopefully.
I'm going to try my best.
Patrick, real quick, give me just what you hope Bronco Nation walks away from the spring game having seen. And remembering that we're going into the offseason immediately after. So let's leave on a good note, right?
Right. Well, I think we're going to see a lot of good things from the defense. I'm really excited about this defense. I think there's a lot of veterans, but a lot of upcoming transfers too who are going to step in and fill the holes that we need. So I'm excited to see how the defense progresses. And I think give Zach Hill the offseason in the summer, I think a backup quarterback will take steps and get more confidence too, especially with Madison's leadership. So those are the two things I'm looking forward to.
That's a good call. I like that. Grant?
Not to go in with too high of expectations. It's a spring scrimmage. No one's going to be jumping out of the stadium. I hope to see some receivers step up. I think at depth, at receiver is going to be a big need for the Broncos this year. And seeing who's going to step up on the defensive side for both D-line and linebackers, since we just had some recent departures.
Yeah.
Looking at those 2 or 3 areas.
And I'm going to toss mine out there, and it's going to be by far the most boring of all of our 3 here. Let's see some kickers make some kicks. Jonah Dalmas, I love you, buddy, but you left a bad taste in my mouth from that Fiesta Bowl. And from what I've seen, I've been impressed with Jarrett Reeser. I don't know, the Boomer kid from UCF could come in and take over right away, but I have been impressed with Jarrett Reeser. And then the other young man whose name is completely slipping my mind came from Sacramento State. Kylie is his last name. He's been kicking it pretty hard on kickoffs as well. So it's not exciting, it's not pretty, it's not flashy, but I want to see some special teams. I want to see some clean special teams. Let's see that. All right, guys. Well, Grant, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Patrick, another one. I got that coming back with Crabtree was solid, man. That was working on your toes there. I liked it. All right, guys. Bronco Nation, please make sure you subscribe. Go follow these guys on their socials. I'll try and tag them in the comments section. We don't, as I always say, we are trying to just build this from the ground up and build it with Bronco fans. I think it's really fun to just have some guys that are just regular guys. I'm just a regular guy. I know you guys are too. We all have other jobs. We are not media. It's not what we do. So I like having just regular guys on, and we're gonna bring you guys on if you want. Maybe Grant never wants to see me again. I don't know. But I'm gonna try out some other guys too, and we're gonna see. And some of them might not like it, some of them might, but we're having a lot of fun. I hope you subscribe. I hope this is fun. I hope that you enjoy the content. It's just a bunch of guys sitting around talking football, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Bronco Nation, thank you for watching. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you to the subscribers. Go check out our interviews. There's more coming up next week. There's more coming up today, actually. Here in a couple hours, I'm going to go talk or listen to Spencer Danielson. They are having another scrimmage right now. Basically, it's 10:44 here. I don't know when you're watching this, but that's what time it is. So I'm excited to hear what Spencer Danielson has to say, and ask him a couple questions about the wide receiver group is what I'm going to be asking about. But appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate you guys being here. Y'all have a great weekend, and as always, go Broncos.
Thanks, Chris. Go Broncos.